Greetings from Oxfordshire in the UK. I'm delighted to present my work to you today. Thank you for the invitation. The thesis examined the effects of age-related changes to the female singer over a period of 4 years. There were 54 volunteers in 3 groups: professionals, amateurs and non-singers. Female singers can face concomitant negative impacts on psychological health and identity alongside loss of age-related vocal competency. Existing literature suggests age-related changes could affect respiratory function, the vocal folds, the tongue, teeth and temporomandibular joint, the hearing, the digestive system, the neuromuscular system and changes to the menopause. Whether or not vocal competency can be maintained and improved over time is under-researched and available evidence is slim, which is why the examiners noted that this research was so welcome. Vocal functionality was tested in these areas: breath control, agility with and without words, onset, resonance, mode of phonation, vibrato, intonation, pitch, range and spoken voice. And this list was devised from the pedagogical literature from the 18th century onwards, from my own experience of 30 years working with the mature voice and from the literature review. In vocal training, the assessment of vocal resonance is normally a subjective process. In this part of my PhD, I explored the possibility of developing an objective method of assessing the resonant qualities using acoustic software. In this case, I used Voce Vista Pro. Resonant tone is created by a well-produced vibration from a voice source, which produces many strong harmonics and can reflect how adept the singer is at making subtle changes to the shape and position of their vocal tract. Age-related changes may affect their ability to make these subtle changes, and this would be observable in changes to the acoustic signal. The literature suggests that resonant tone results from flow phonation with an optimal balance between airflow, breath pressure, and glottal resistance. I assessed this from the strength of the fundamental frequency. Vocal intensity can reflect the efficiency of the vocal folds and can be measured in the decibel level of the fundamental frequency. Ring or squeal results from the subtle shaping of the vocal tract and a low larynx. It is observable in strong spectral energy in the formants, making them orally significant. A description of warmth in the timbre normally indicates a low first formant and a convergent resonator shape. Consistent vibrancy over all vowels will indicate stability in the vocal tract and is observable in a spectrogram. Escaping breath or sibilant consonants is detrimental to resonant tone as it creates non-harmonic noise in the signal and can be seen as blurriness in the spectrogram. In my research, singers were required to sing a vowel chain E, E, R, O, U on a single pitch with gaps in between each vowel. They did this twice, once in modal voice and once in head voice. A scoring system was devised from the observations of the acoustic signal in Voce Vista. The rating was from 1 to 3 and reflected poor, moderate or good resonant qualities in the voice. The maximum score was 48 per person for each data set, and a higher score indicates better performance and functionality. So the results. The scores of the main cohort are reflected in this graph. The blocks of columns indicate the 4 data collections, and there was wide variability of the scores, both between the individual scores of each volunteer and throughout the group as a whole over time. There is no obvious pattern of improvement or deterioration. This graph shows the range of vocal resonance scores at the first data collection for all 3 groups. The professional singers scored marginally higher than the other 2 groups, but the non-singers and the main cohort had very similar results. These next 3 slides show the results from the main cohort and a discrete subgroup who had all been trained in the Italian bel canto method of singing. They compared the position of the first and second formants in these combinations, an R vowel to both an E and an U, and E vowel to both E and U, and finally the O vowel to both E and U. In this, the subgroup achieved more positive results, but these were not significant. The main findings were that a method of analysing resonance through the use of acoustic software was exploratory. However, perceptual analysis of the same data by experts compared very closely with my scoring system devised here using acoustic software. This would suggest that the method was fairly robust. The method did provide good evidence of individual vocal problems such as breathiness, changes in vibrancy, and loss of vocal intensity. It also suggested that bel canto training could improve resonant tone. The conclusions were one of the main findings overall from the thesis was that vocal functionality can be maintained over time. However, there was no predictable change to vocal resonance, but this method of acoustic analysis could be useful in reflecting subtle changes to the mature voice so that prompt action can be taken to correct the change. I will be developing and refining this method further. Thank you for listening, and please send any questions or comments to me at inspectorvoice@gmail.com. And thank you for your time today.